everyone, and welcome to DIY Project this month, Salt Dough Tags. So, to begin with, let's go over with what you are provided. First, we have our 2 cups of flour. And we have our 1 cup of salt. Now, for this, we are using just regular table salt, and that's because we want the small granules to mix with the flour. Then we have our sun-shaped cookie cutter. And the wonderful thing about this dough is actually that it's super versatile and easy to make. So it'll work with pretty much any cookie cutter that you have. So it's great for all seasons. And then moving on, we have what you will need, which is 1 cup of water, a chopstick or skewer to make our hole, some ribbon for hanging up our tags, some sandpaper for our edges, and finally, a rolling pin. Now, in addition to this, you will need to have at least a medium-sized bowl to do your mixing in. All right? So let's make some salt dough. Important note, you will need cookie sheets, and personally, I like to put tinfoil over mine. It's easier for the salt dough to release, as well as keeping the cookie sheets a little bit more clean. All right, so our first step is to do the most important thing, and that is preheat our oven to 200 degrees. So I'm gonna come over here to my oven, and I hit bake, and then because mine starts at 350, I have to push down until we get to 200 degrees. All right, and now she's preheating. So, while that's preheating, let's make our dough. I personally, when I bake and things of that nature, I like to use gloves because I like to get in there with my hands, but I don't like to get a lot of things like salt and dough and stuff under my nails because that just drives me up the wall. So, I'm putting on my gloves. You guys don't have to. That's totally up to you. We're going to mix together our flour. So we're going to pour our 2 cups of flour into our medium bowl. And then our 1 cup of salt. And for this, because it's pretty easy, I just get my hand in there and I start just kind of spinning it around. You don't want to make a mess, but you want to make sure that it is thoroughly mixed. Because this is very simple with our dough, but it is also, you want to make sure you do it right. And you should feel a nice grainy texture. You should feel those salt crystals in there if you thoroughly mix the flour and the salt. So you shouldn't get a clump where you feel just flour. You should feel it all mixed together. All right, that is looking pretty well mixed. So then we dust off our hands and we add our 1 cup of water. Just pour it right on in. Nothing fancy, nothing too crazy, just some flour, salt, and water. And then you're gonna get your hand in there, or your spoon, depending on how you do it, and you're gonna make sure that it all mixes together. Yeah, it's gonna be slimy for a little bit and a little bit gooey, but that's okay. And you're just gonna keep turning it and making sure that you get all of your salt and your flour mixed in with your more wet dough, because that is really what we're looking for. Is we're gonna look for a cohesive ball of dough. Because if it's too wet, it won't hold its shape. And if it's too dry, it will just crumble away. So you want to make sure you get it all mixed well together. And you punch it down and squeeze it. And you make sure that you just keep flipping it over and packing it all in and packing it all together, so that it all goes well together and it all combines into our beautiful dough that we can pick up and hold. See, look at that. And now you've got a big ball of dough. Let's roll this out and start making some cookies. Or, well, not cookies, because don't eat this. It's not good. It's going to taste like flour and salt. It's gross. Don't eat it. But we're going to cut out some cookie shapes. All right. Okay. So, personally, what I have found is the best thing that you can do when you're making a dough, especially when you're rolling it out, is to take a little bit of extra flour, just a little bit, like a little pinch, and you're gonna sprinkle it and rub it into your workspace where you're gonna roll out your dough, because honestly, dough gets sticky and we don't want it to stick and ruin our beautiful sun shapes. So just a little bit of flour, spread it around, and then we're gonna flip out. See, it's sticky. I'm gonna flip out our dough. Then, with our rolling pin, just to make sure it doesn't stick to this, you're gonna take another little teeny tiny pinch, and you're just gonna rub it on your rolling pin to make sure it doesn't stick to the dough. Now, sometimes it's gonna stick anyway, whether you do that or not. But this is okay. The wonderful thing about dough is it's really pliable and it does not mind getting worked over and over and over again, because we're not trying to look for something soft. We're looking for just the right amount of consistency and width. Because we're going to roll this out until it's about around 1/4 inch thick. So you just push it around, push it out over here, push it out over here, move some stuff that's in the way, because it's always larger than you expect it to be. But that's okay, we don't mind. All right, so it's pretty good now. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Then we put our rolling pin to the side and we grab our handy dandy cookie cutter, and then you're just gonna pop it on and push it down and give it a little bit of a wiggle, and then pull it up, and there she is, our first salt dough tag. Now on the side, you're gonna want your cookie sheet, and then you just grab up your salt dough tag, make sure it's all nice and pretty, and then pop it down. And we're gonna just do this over and over and over again until we get all the tags that we want, or we run out of dough. And you can fit about 6 of them on a tray, so you're gonna wanna have a second cookie sheet ready to go. Very important step. You have to take your skewer or your chopstick and choosing a place on here that you think is going to be able to support some weight. So don't do it particularly on one of the little ends. You're going to want to do it towards the middle. You're going to stick it down and just wiggle it around in a circle. Here, and we'll do it again. And wiggle, 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 wiggle. And wiggle, 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 wiggle. And then there you can see we've got our holes for hanging our salt dough tags. Pro tip, while your salt dough tags are in the oven and cooking, one of the most important things that you can do is to clean up your area and make sure your space is taken care of and clean. So I take my wipes and I make sure that I get everything wiped down and cleaned off, because I don't want critters to come out, because flour is one of critters' favorite foods. So, make sure that you scrub everything down and make sure that you take care of things and wash everything that you use, because we don't want to have dirty things. All right. So, 6 hours later, and your wonderful salt dough tags should look something similar to this. I will even pick it up. There we go. You see, no more flecks. Nice and hard. That's what we're looking for. They are breakable, So do not throw them around, but they are firm. So then we're going to take our sandpaper, and you're just going to go quickly around in a downward motion around your edges. To soften those out. Okay, it's not too hard, doesn't take a long time, just be patient though. Don't rush it. Don't try to snap off the pieces, because that will actually cause the whole thing to break. I speak from experience. Definitely, if you want to make sure your edges are nice and smooth, take the time and sandpaper them. Just go through, draw it down, draw it over. All right. And then all of our little extra stuff is gone. And we have a beautiful, clean edge Salto tag. Now, inside of your kits, you guys have some red, blue, yellow, and white paint. On the back of your instruction sheet, you actually also have a color wheel. And this is a wonderful guide to mixing colors and what colors you will get. From those 3 colors and the white, you can pretty much make whatever color you want. The white is there to help you if you want to do edging or make colors lighter, because you can add a bunch of color, but it won't make anything lighter. So you do have to use white for that. Some of the ones I've been working on are, I have my little pink one. I have my really pretty little green one. And a little purple one that's really nice and shiny. I use tempera paint. Acrylic paint would work as well. But don't use things like oil-based paints. Those will not actually sit well on the salt dough. You want a water-based paint. All right. Have fun, and we will see you next month, where we are called Tween Project. All right. Have a great summer. Bye.